Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Yet another episode of That's Life. This evening, I have with me my good friend from college, Mr. Vivek Goyal. Before I start telling you more about Vivek and asking him about life, let me tell you about this show. This show was conceived along with a friend of mine from the US when we were discussing how we could give back to society so much of what we've got. And then we decided, I said, I'll arrange a talk where you can come and speak to my students. And my friend said, yes, I'd be game. And then I thought of this format because I don't have just one friend, I have so many. And they are my hidden treasure and my ultimate pleasure. So here I am every week, one new guest, life experiences, stories of life, shared live on YouTube and left there for people to watch. So, friends, this evening I'm very proud to welcome my college mate, my batch mate from BITS Pilani, Mr. Vivek Goyal. Vivek Goyal is an electrical and electronics engineer from BITS Pilani. He's worked in industry at key positions and, the most significant thing, retired at 50. After 50, his journey turned even more interesting. So he's been doing a lot of very interesting stuff. I've been in touch with Vivek even after college. We've met up a couple of times and I've been following his journey. So I'm sure it's going to be an interesting conversation with Vivek. So welcome Vivek formally to That's Life. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you, Atul. Pleasure is all mine. I hope I make some sense.
Oh, you always did, and you always will. So, Vivek, as I start all the journeys with school life, and I find every school life is unique, and there's so much, the foundation for life is laid when we are in school. Now, I see that you had schooling from Ambala to Shillong and at various places. So, I think your dad was in the army because of which you shifted schools. So, would you like to tell me about your school days?
School days are always fun. Uh, from what I remember of my schooling, uh, it was primarily uh, started in Shillong.
Okay.
Uh, that was a good time.
Hmm.
And one of the things which happened because you keep on shifting schools after every 3-4 years
Hmm.
is you get to know a lot of people.
Hmm.
Uh, but what I realized later on in life
Hmm.
is that my schooling was pretty much in a bubble.
Hmm.
A bubble more like an army environment bubble, staying in
Hmm.
cantonments.
Hmm.
Earlier schooling was in convents and then shifted to Kendriya Vidyalaya.
Hmm.
And all your friends are, their parents are associated with the army
Hmm.
or or the air force or something like that.
Hmm.
So there is a limitation in exposure. But
Hmm.
school life was good. School was fun.
Hmm.
Sab, sab kiya.
Hmm. Games, activities.
Huh? I mean, I didn't excel in anything,
Hmm.
but I would go in and get myself involved with everything. So that was it.
So, if you didn't excel in academics, then how did you get into bits?
बस हो गया. I think it is it was more of a timing issue.
Hmm.
Uh, our batch was a unique batch, if
Hmm.
you
Yeah, so was
realize.
ours. Yeah, correct.
कि we were the last batch of the 11-year schooling, higher
Yes.
secondary.
Yes.
है ना? उसके बाद it had shifted to 10 plus 2. And Pilani was a 5-year course. They used to take people after higher secondary.
Yeah, we got to spend 1 extra year in college instead of school.
So everybody in our batch went and did 12th somewhere else.
11th?
No, 12th.
12th, okay. Oh, I see. And you did 11th?
No, I did, my 11th was finished in 77.
Okay.
Okay, and I didn't score enough to get into Pilani.
Okay.
Though I had applied, I didn't get it. But so then I went to PUC in Ambala.
I did PUC as well.
So वहाँ हो गया.
So PUC gave you good marks, and then you could join BITS after that. So lucky. Yes. That's wonderful. Now, Vivek, you joined BITS, and you say that that is where you learned to think independently. इसके बारे में tell me something, because I would love all my students as well, and audience members to understand what is thinking independently and how it can be developed.
क्या बोलूं? See, as I was saying that my schooling was in a bit of a bubble. जब तक स्कूल में थे, we didn't realize that. ठीक है. But then when you come to Pilani and you feel that you've led a life and your schooling has been all over the country, but then you suddenly realize that your schooling has been only over one strip of the country, north to south. East to west. Shillong से इस side, Ambala तक. बीच में बरेली में हुआ, मेरठ में हुआ, all those places. But it was one set. There was a whole section of the country you were not exposed to.
Beautiful.
Or if you're exposed to that, you are exposed to that section in a very caricatured manner. So exposure, when in Pilani, you had people from all over India. From all kinds of backgrounds. Some were very rich, some were middle class, some were from not so well-off families.
Yeah.
With all kinds of attitudes, with all kinds of language issues, with all kinds of accents. And then you start realizing there's a lot to understand because everybody's perspective was different. The other thing which obviously I think I found in Pilani was, as far as academics was concerned, normally Indian schooling में ज़्यादा thought process application नहीं होता है. It's more of rote memorization and spewing it out. When you come to Pilani, you realize that there is things that you thought you were very smart because you could get good marks in exams and all. You then realize that there's a lot to understand about various physical forces and chemical forces. If you recall, I think you and I did a project together for in one, what is that course called? Concepts of Science.
Yes, Concepts of Science. Was Sanjeev Ratan Mishra.
Yes.
He was a teaching assistant at that time.
So I think, I don't know what happened, where he finally went, but he was one man who kind of opened up eyes. He opened up minds.
Yes. He was very good and he used to work very, very hard on us.
So he opened up minds in terms of there's a lot
that
more.
That was our first semester. Concept of Science first semester.
First semester. So I think you and I came into contact for the first time at that time.
Yes.
So that was a good situation. So basically, then you realize
then you start questioning concepts which had hitherto been unquestionable, or something that you just needed to accept without proof.
Yes. So that's where the issue of saying, okay, there's a lot more to think about. Interestingly, also got exposed to a lot of non-academic thought processes in terms of the way people looked at the country, the way people would, looked at various aspects of life like society, religion, etc., etc. And then you kind of question yourself, where you're coming from, what you're doing, who's right, who's wrong, what is good, what is bad, and take it on from there.
So this bit about the country, about religion and such stuff, was it part of the Lacha sessions?
Oh yeah.
In the hostel, in the canteen, on the lawns.
Used to hear that. Plus, used to have these. I think one also took a lot of things subconsciously.
Yes.
There's
an atmosphere there. No, there's a.
For example, I had never been. When I joined Pilani, believe it or not, I never knew who Rajnikant was.
Okay.
Or what MGR meant.
Right.
For people, or Rajkumar in Karnataka and stuff like that.
Mammootty.
Yes. So it's only after that you start realizing
there's more to the world than.
There is a huge world out there.
Yes.
There's a huge world out there. So that's when you realize that norms which have been kind of imbibed in you, you just filter them for their values. But you don't need to
hang on to them all the time.
Hang on to the structures. See, जो कुछ भी आपको सिखाया जाता है, there are two aspects to it. There is a core value and then there is a structure to it, in which the value is packaged and given. It's like a samosa. There's the aloo inside, which is a core value, and then there is this.
It's like honey in a honeycomb.
So that's exactly what I meant was when I would say that I think
निकाल लो.
दिमाग थोड़ा खुला उधर जाके. It was primarily because of this key. You realize कि core values ठीक है. They are good sound core values. But the structures have their limitations and have their biases. So just leave it there. That's how it went.
And you changed after that?
Yes, I changed after that.
That's a huge, shift. Independent thinking, that's a very huge shift, and that is something that each young person needs to understand, that if you really think you are going to stand on your feet, then you've got to learn to think independently.
There is a, how do I put this? There is always, I think when you are staying in a closed environment or you're meeting up with people from very similar backgrounds, this will happen with anyone who's grown up in a particular campus. Or just say, you, I think, grew up in Rourkela?
Yeah, or Jamshedpur.
Jamshedpur. So that's a steel city.
Similar to Rourkela.
Right? That's a steel city.
Yes.
So everybody there has come from all over the country, but there's in a job. So there is steel city environment.
It's everywhere.
It's a campus.
In everyone. It's in everyone.
So उसमें क्या होता है कि you get a sense कि this is what is right.
This is the world. This is the world.
This is how things should be. but then you realize कि बहुत कुछ और भी हो सकता है. So actually Pilani for me, if you really look at it, and if I look at it now, was the degree and the courses, they were mere vehicles on which you kind of hopped on. The real journey and the real learning comes from a whole lot of other things which are not formalized.
Absolutely right. Which are outside the classroom, which actually transform you in many, many ways. So excellent. And once you finished from BITS Pilani, you joined Telco Pune.
Yeah.
So tell us a little about your job in Telco and how you started using computers in vehicle manufacturing activity at that time. That was probably the beginning of this thing.
Yeah, I think we were Telco. How did I get into Telco?
Was it a campus interview?
Yeah, it was a campus interview. And I learned later that I had been rejected.
Okay.
It was campus interview, campus में selection हो गया. Then they called us for the final interviews to the
Pune.
To Pune. तो हम लोग गए थे सब लोग. I think there were about 15-16 people from our batch. उसके बाद कुछ नहीं हुआ for some time. I had almost joined another company when I got a letter which was like a second round call for them. When I finally joined Telco, I would say maybe about a year or so later, after joining Telco, I was told by my senior that you had been rejected. And we kind of had to fight for it a little. The reason for rejection was very interesting. The last thing you did at Telco when you after the interviews, etc., was fill up an formal application form, employment application. Because Telco, like any other large organization, has a certain bureaucracy. So, वो application form भरा. उस application form में, amongst other things, ये भी लिखा था कि what is your religion? तो हम तो थे independent thinker. So, हमने कहा what religion? I'm an atheist.
Oh my God.
So I was told later that some people in the HR felt that this guy has too much of an attitude.
Oh my God.
Fit nahi hoga.
So but, that got you rejected. But your seniors fought for it and they got you in.
They basically, I think, जो शुरू में first line में जिनको offer दिया होगा उनमें से 1 or 2 would have dropped out, and then they were looking at
at more talent.
Because so they went. Anyways, I think most of the EEE guys, basically they took EEE and mostly EEE and mechanical. So all the EEE guys were put into what is called as their computer division, management services division on that time. And they were just starting off a small group within that to see how to introduce computers in the vehicle design activity. तो हमें लगा कि चलो हमने 5 कोर्स मैथमेटिक्स के किए हैं और ये सब किया है तो थोड़ा एप्लीकेशन तो हो जाएगा इधर. So I was one of the people who opted for that. And that's how we got it. So we basically did a lot of some basic work out there. But I think by the end of the by the time I'd left Telco, the usage of computers had pretty much in the design offices was getting very well, almost everybody was working that way. So starting with first shifting the drawing activity, the cataloging activity, then the design analysis. That if you're designing a vehicle and you're putting a load on it, what happens? All those kind of things. We had some professors from IITs also who were coming in as
helping
consultants. So उस तरह का काम अच्छा काम था. It was interesting work.
And then why did you leave it?
Why did I leave it? Frankly speaking, two reasons. Actually, before I come to that, let me tell you something else.
Sure.
You remember there used to be a guy called SP Mahapatra?
Yes.
He and I, we used to stay together. And I think after 3 years, he was also in the management services division, but on the services side. I think dealing with inventory, ERP kind of systems. So he was very, after about 3 years out there, I think he decided to move to the US. So he applied for a job and got in there. And usse pehle, a few others had kind of moved out. So I think towards the last of his days, we were just sitting and chatting, and I was saying, kya, everybody's kind of just going. मुझे भी लगता है जाना चाहिए. So he said something, "Nahi, Vivek, I think you should stay. Because what you're doing out here, what I am doing, 100 other people are doing all over the country. But the kind of work you guys are doing in your group, there are not many people. So it is better you stay here." So I think that's what kept me there for 5 years. Otherwise, I would have left earlier. But by the time I was there in 5 years, what I realized was that my activity will always remain a support activity for the company. It is never going to be the prime activity of the company. It's not something which the company earns direct money from. And uski wajah se, there is always what should I say?
Step-brotherly treatment or what?
No, I wouldn't call it a step-brotherly treatment. There is a dichotomy in priorities of what you think should be the priority.
Okay.
What your management thinks should be the priority.
The focus is maybe different.
तो उसमें ये भी लगता था कि अच्छा, if I stay, ठीक है, if I stay another 10 years here, where would I go? I would be maybe head of this group, or maybe somewhere in this kind of a situation. But वो होगा नहीं. Plus the other thing is, I'm an electronics engineer. Telco is a vehicle manufacturing company. उन दिनों इतना इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स नहीं आया था गाड़ियों में और आना भी नहीं था. So where is the I saw limitations to my growth within the company so then I decided to leave. But I think I made a mistake there.
Okay.
I mean, if you were to ask me if there's anything which I regret,
it is leaving that job.
No, not leaving the job, because when I left the job, I was given an offer which I refused.
Oh.
They offered me to why don't you, instead of leaving, because उस समय my inclination was pretty much very much into hardcore engineering kind of activities. And so I was told by my management that if you want, we will sponsor you to do a MTech in an IIT.
Beautiful.
If you want Bombay or Delhi, jahan tumhe jana hai, we can, because these institutes used to take sponsored candidates. वो मैंने पता नहीं क्यों मना कर दिया. Which later in my professional life in the IT industry, I felt I would have been better off if I had taken that. But otherwise, not. So that was it.
So how was it? Go on.
So that was Telco. It was I mean, I still look upon Telco as an excellent place to work and a place where I think the company gave me as much as I tried to give it.
Beautiful.
Absolutely
no
regrets.
They are a good group. They are a great group that way, the Tatas. No doubt about it.
So it was a good setup.
So tell me, Vivek, how was it living in Pune? Pune was a very happening city at that time. I think
Pune was beautiful.
ashram and all that was thriving at that time. So it was.
Yes, Pune was
lots
beautiful.
Of foreigners, and Pune was a very happening place.
Pune was beautiful.
Any memories of Pune?
Oh yeah, very good memories of Pune.
So tell us one or two.
And Telco, if I pointed out at this point of time, was one of the highest paying jobs at the campus. We used to get a princely salary of 2,000 rupees a month.
Excellent. Which year was this?
This was 83, 84.
84? Oh, that was quite a bit, I tell you.
I know. 2,000 rupees was one of the higher salaries in the what people were getting at that time.
Yes, my first salary was 1,500 rupees. So that too was considered high.
So we were. So with that kind of money, we were
blowing it up,
living it up. Pune was a good place. Lots of nice.
Yeah, Pune today
beautiful
also they
city.
Say Pune is nice. Yes.
And for me, it was the first time I actually came. See, Pilani was not new to me because I had a lot of family in Jodhpur, Jaipur side. So Rajasthan was pretty much familiar. But this was the first time I went south. South of the Vindhyas. Right. And a very different people, a very different culture. Okay. And I remember the first day I landed up in Pune. From the train, these Telco had arranged some hotels for, I think, for the first 3-4 days for us to stay. So went from the station to the hotel in an auto. And like a Saab went and checked in. Then the hotel attendant says, "Sir, मैं आपका luggage रखो." I said, "हाँ." He says, "Luggage कहाँ है?" I said, "वो होगा." He says, "वहाँ तो कुछ नहीं है." There's no luggage there. Then I realized, "Kya, where's my luggage?" I ran out. The auto had gone. I realized I had left the luggage in the auto, and this is my first day of flight. So I was kind of getting a little worked up.
Then the auto wala came.
Then you see the auto fellow coming. And he came and said कि आपने अपना लगेज छोड़ दिया, मैंने तो दूसरी सवारी ली थी. उसने कहा कि ये पीछे.
I had to come back.
हाँ, because if you had to come back. So I was so amazed because being from North India, and in those days, by that time, by the time I came to Pune, my dad had retired and he had kind of moved to Faridabad. So Faridabad is hardcore North India, Northwest India culture, right? जो हम लोग बहुत अच्छे से जानते हैं.
तुम्हारा लगेज क्या तुम भी गायब हो जाते.
Right. I was quite amazed. I kind of tipped him off
Honesty
and
the
all,
fellow
but that
showed.
was something which struck me.
Did you tip the fellow?
Oh yes. I told him कि कहाँ का कि मतलब थोड़ा ले लो. He was not willing initially, but it was not that he expected a tip.
Yeah. He
But-
was doing his duty.
And then I realized that this guy was not a one of a kind.
Yeah, they all like that.
Whether this fact कि you brush against someone and the guy will kind of, say sorry, नीचे हाथ करके. Those kind of things you never realize in North India. क्या होता है? So
Yeah, you realize other things here.
yes. So that was it.
Excellent. So from
So
there you came, बताओ.
From there I came to Delhi.
JK Technosoft.
Yeah. So
And a family-run business.
this was a JK Synthetic Singhania group.
बताओ something about this one.
This was a good experience in another way. I don't want to say more.
You learned what not to do?
Yeah, a bit of that.
Bit of that as well. Okay.
Yeah. But this was, it was a company which had been formed because it was a fad in those days, in the mid 80s.
Offshoring.
नहीं, उस समय offshoring was not such a big thing. In fact,
Okay.
I think 84, 85 में तो TI had set up a lab. TCS and maybe one or two other companies were doing offshoring. Most of the other guys like HCL, PCL, etc., they were making computers and selling in India. And but everybody felt that computers is the way forward.
Future.
Every business house, every business family wanted to have, so they started this.
Get a finger in the pie.
Without too much of clarity. So initially they started doing work locally, etc. मेरे को उन्होंने इसलिए लिया कि one of their people felt कि एक CAD CAM होना चाहिए mechanical engineering का. So because I was from Telco, they said, okay, you come and start. But I think very soon they also realized, and I also realized, that that is not their cup of tea. They were not willing to make the kind of investments in manpower and machinery that was required for that. But after that, they had. But I think that was like late 80s. And that's when there was a lot of body shopping which used to go on. When you say offshoring, there's a lot of body shopping which used to, what was called as body shopping, which used to go on, but that used to happen through more of an informal channel. I'm here, my brother's in the US, I'm going to start, and he's going to open up an agency and start placing people. So it was not so much as organized, but I think the offshoring in the sense of setting up things in India
started later
by foreign companies, that started later. I mean, usse pehle TI was the only example which was there in Bangalore. And maybe there would have been a few others, you don't hear about that. But then there was this Canadian company, which was a large telecom company. They wanted to come in and establish different design activities here with 2 or 3 different companies. So we made a bid for that, and they ended up choosing 3 companies to do their job for different product lines, etc. One was TCS, one was Wipro, and The third was us.
Oh,
We were at that point of time 40 people in that.
and where is JK Technosoft now?
Currently, it operates out of Noida.
Okay,
I
it's
think
still there.
sector 2 or sector 3.
Okay.
They survived. So ये लोग, we started working with them, but I don't think that went very far. Somewhere along the line, things happened. And in the meantime, I had also kind of decided to quit the company. So that is more, I mean, I don't want to talk more about that. I got an opportunity at that point of time because I was still up, my telco experience was still pretty heavy, and I really valued that. So there used to be this company, I don't know if you heard of it, called Silicon Graphics.
Saudi Arabia.
They used to make, Silicon Graphics was what should I say, the Elon Musk, Tesla of those times.
Okay.
As far as computers and graphics was concerned, because they would come up with these huge multi-panel screens and all, and every Ferraris and everybody would would use their hardware and software to do their designs. And I think every engineering company, they were the top-notch setup there. So anyways, they were heavily providing equipment into Saudi Arabia for their drilling rigs and all, because a lot of this technology or technical, or what should I say, engineering software, used to run on Silicon Graphics. So this company was there, and they wanted people to, help, get their things moving there. So I went there, but Saudi did not work out for me. I within 1 month of getting there,
disgusted.
I wouldn't say disgusted.
Suffocated, you said, yeah.
Yes, suffocated more of it, because for the first time I realized that in this world you have societies in which the law will tell you that
restrictions.
See, India mein discrimination hota rehta hai, but the law does not discriminate, or at least tries not to discriminate.
Yeah, everybody is equal in the eyes of the law.
And wahan pe the legal system would discriminate. And then, so I felt ki this is, and when you have a legal system that discriminates, then it kind of perpetuates down in there.
The very air is not,
so anyways, so I think ek mahine baad, I told them ki I want to go. They said ki we spent so much money getting you here, so you have to stay here for minimum 2 more months. I said, okay, I'll bide my time. I came back. Then I kind of worked for a chota setup for some time. Then I had this offer from this Bangalore company called Silicon Automation. Which was an interesting offer at that time. I had never been to Bangalore. This Canadian company which I had talked about earlier, no? Jo JK ke saath thi. They used to this Silicon Automation was the 4th company they were working with in India. But Silicon Automation was a very narrow focused company. They used to make tools for doing VLSI design, specialist tools. You had companies like Cadence, etc., Synopsys and Cadence, but they were whatever the gaps were in their product line, Silicon Automation would provide the specific tools to do that.
Okay.
But I mean, the big guys like Cadence, etc., were obviously getting wiser to the whole thing, and they were covering their bases better.
Hmm.
So these guys had to kind of change track and get into that. So I think in the exercise of getting into that, they widened their things. They decided to start working in telecom, and I went to Pune. Well, not Pune, Bangalore on this. I worked there for almost 9-10 years. That is another good organization. A lot of personal growth,
Professional growth as well.
Professional growth as well. And again, reinforcement of certain ideas which I had developed in Pune, vis-a-vis. Yeah, basically, there are two things. There is I don't know if you want to talk about it, but there is a drastic difference between work cultures in North India and work cultures in South India.
Sure. Yeah.
And based on various people that I have kind of come across in life, for me, it's like I always thought. I mean, there's no scientific reason or any basis for this, but for me, there is one work culture north of Indore and one work culture south of Indore, and that basically changes. So, anyways, when I said ideas which I developed in Pune, it was a work culture related thing. So, anyways, that was a good environment, and that pushed me into another area of work. Again, related to engineering activities. So there I started working in signal processing, basically audio and video. जो zoom up कर रहा है वो हम लोग शुरुआत इसकी की थी वहाँ पे. And so stayed there for some time, and then came back to Delhi in early 2000.
Noida, Neo Magic.
This was basically, this is a US company setting up they wanted to set up a design office here. And Neo Magic was a company which, again, they used to work on graphics processors with a lot of mathematical software and blah, blah, blah. So वो सब थोड़ा background था, so kind of came in here.
So you were the head of this center that was established in Noida.
Yeah, I was heading.
Yeah, you were heading that.
Yeah.
So, what was the difference in the work culture between Noida and Bangalore? And why did you not set it up in Bangalore instead of Noida?
That was not my choice.
They had already chosen the spot.
They'd already chosen the spot because, interestingly, Neo Magic core founder was from Kanpur.
Okay.
IIT Kanpur.
Okay.
And he had family in North India. And he decided that he wants to work on this side of the country. Though Bangalore would have been a much better choice. But
because there you have the ecosystem, you also have manpower available.
It is, it's like this, just to give you an example of work culture. Like by that time, Bangalore mein this ecosystem and small startups and all were beginning to happen. And you had a lot of technology companies in there. TI to pehle se hi tha, lots of others came in. Uh, but when I came to Delhi and I was kind of trying to put together the team, on more than one occasion, you would interview a guy, and brilliant guy from from an IIT Delhi or Delhi College of Engineering or something like that. Brilliant guy, and you wanted to recruit him. He also very much would like the work that you're doing. But he'll go back and after 2 days he'll say कि मैं तो join करना चाहता हूँ, but my parents are not agree.
Okay.
So the kind of focus on the brand value or the brand recognition of the company that you're trying to join rather than on the work. So we never encountered that in
South.
In Bangalore, because even in Bangalore we were by the time I've kind of moved out from there, we were doing some pretty advanced work. I mean, I think Silicon Automation was one of the first companies in India which developed a licensing model.
Okay.
Which kind of said that we'll develop our own technology and we'll license. We will not.
Wonderful.
We will not do projects. So it's not key. I'm going to do a project for company X or company Y. It's that I have this
own products which are licensed.
I have no, not so much as product. We never had products. We had more like technology know-hows. Like we knew how to, let's say, if somebody wanted a system for video compression, audio video compression, we could provide that system. But we would license the technology. We would license the algorithm. And because like the company owned a lot of patents also, we had developed based on the technology. So we would get into this licensing model. So I think, take the top 10 electronic companies in the world. I think I would have licensed to the top 6 or 7 of them.
Oh, wow. And how are they doing now, Silicon Automation?
Silicon Automation is doing okay. I mean, they're good, but they're not the same.
Okay.
Because somewhere along the line, I think they had to make a decision in terms of whether they want to focus on quarter-to-quarter growth numbers, which in India, for a company which is not selling products, can only come if they go down the service route, or the service route becomes the mainstay in their business. The licensing route doesn't work that way. The licensing is a little more longer term, and the money comes in bulk, in more towards the end of the years. This thing. So, because what you're earning from royalty, the other guy has to first finish his product, take it out to the market, and then only you start earning the royalties on from that. So, so somewhere they made a decision. Their board, this is what they want to do. This is what they want to focus on more. So there were some people like me at that point of time who kind of moved out. No, not so much deferred. We moved out. I mean, everybody has their own this thing. Plus, I had this offer to start something in a very similar field and take it down further in that area. So that seemed to be an exciting growth of.
Now, Vivek, tell me about your decision to retire at 50. Now, that's a very, very interesting thing. That is not something that too many people would be doing.
Okay. It was not a decision which came out of the blue.
Hmm.
It was also a result of, what should I say? See, when a certain downturn on the thing, because when the 2008 crash happened, Neo Magic shut down. They had offices in, they were operating out of California, and they had design offices here and in Israel. So they kind of shut down everybody, fired everybody all over the place. And I think only 2 or 3 people who kind of had to finish the formalities in the US.
Wind up.
They kind of wound up. So, but even before that, I had started getting a little jaded of the job because, frankly speaking, I'd only done a BTech. Okay. So there's a limit to what I can contribute to things technically. And I was finding that more of my activity was more of management and people management. And I was also beginning to, I mean, this had started in Silicon Automation, etc. Because even in that company and in NeoMagic, we were running a lot of research programs in IITs, sponsored research programs there. So one would find that, when you're recruiting and the work was such that you tended to recruit from these
Topmost
7-8 institutions, and both at master's and bachelor's levels, and even a few PhDs. So one was finding that there's a great dichotomy between the level at which the industry is operating, okay, and the level at which these people are coming out. But I think by that time, attitudes in the new generation had also started changing. And so I found myself what I described my job to myself that I'm doing more of babysitting than anything else. Because we would take up people, train them,
nurture them,
and taking them. And it was a repetitive activity because it's not that a new guy will come up with a more evolved thing. So, his challenges are different. Every year you would have the same challenges. So you start getting bored of it. So once this thing shut down, obviously nobody wants to kind of just sit at home. So I did a couple of consulting projects after that. But again, they were more of people wanting to set up operations here. And by that time, I kind of knew how to go about it. And more importantly, had a pretty decent capability in terms of setting up engineering teams, good quality engineering teams, which is, I think, for a new startup, even a design office of an existing company, getting the right people in the beginning is the important thing. So, वो काम मैंने एक दो बार as a consultant किया, but then again I felt कि it's not very different. So then I decided to stop doing that and think for myself कि अब क्या करना चाहिए. I actually at that point of time also looked at, should I get into teaching? Looked at the Pilani PhD program, because that seemed to be the most flexible PhD program in India at that time. But finally then decided ki chodo ye sab. Uh, and then certain things happened in the family also, which kind of took me to Dehradun. And in Dehradun again, I realized that uh, uh, this is a very different world. The thought processes happening here and happening in Delhi, or for that matter, Bombay or Bangalore, etc. The whole thought process is very different. There's two different Indias out there. So then I got a little more interested in certain circumstances required me to stay in Dehradun. So then I decided to just completely get out of this technology side and do something different. So that's how I have become what I have become
and
now.
I think a year or so into that we had met, and then you told me about your farm and about your plan to have a homestead for dogs. I remember.
Yeah.
So tell me more about your organic farming and dog breeding.
It's more of a hobby still.
I know, but if you're living your hobby, nothing like that. That's the best thing.
Always, since childhood, I think there were two things which kind of fascinated me. I mean, I always had liked to have dogs, and always had a fascination for the mountains. Traveled a lot in the mountains. I think the fact that my first 4-5 formative years of schooling itself was done in Shillong and moving around those areas, Meghalaya. So I, and then when we started saying, okay, ab job chhod diya hai, so I have more time, I can keep dogs, etc. And started looking around. The other thing which I noticed was कि हम जब छोटे होते थे, when we were kids, Alsatian कुत्ते होते थे, बढ़िया, right?
I've had
regal looks, and then I realized कि now what I see in Alsatian dogs which are being
breeding करके खराब कर दिया, नस्ल खराब हो गई है.
So
that royal look and that breed is no more.
They become thinner, they become scrawnier.
They've become
apologetic.
Yeah,
their look is apologetic.
Yes.
Maza nahi aata.
Very sad.
And the same thing which I'm finding ki, so anyways, I said ki theek hai, so I don't want to. And then over the years, I kind of got exposed to the fact ki, like one of the things once I came to Delhi from Bangalore, I did a lot of traveling in the mountains. So that used to be a favorite pastime. जब गाड़ी उठाई और चल दिए. So saw all these dogs in the mountains out there. Beautiful dogs. Healthy, free, and kind of taking it. So that's where I kind of got interested in the Himalayan breeds. And the Himalayan breeds are not recognized by KCI, etc., because nobody's paying attention to them. I said, that's fine. But these are pretty unique and distinctive. They're very distinctive from anything else you find anywhere else. So then I said, came across a few like-minded people. We were discussing. And then we said, "Theek hai, let's try." And so there are a few people now who are trying to sustain these breeds, because these breeds are getting very diluted. And these breeds are no longer, again, they are not very, what should I say, city friendly.
Okay.
Like the Gaddi dog is almost 30 inches on the shoulder. Okay. It's got a huge head.
Hmm.
Huge head. It's got a nice mane, broad paws,
Hmm.
and a very, very deep bark. A
Hmm.
bark which will echo in the hills.
Hmm.
So you can't keep that kind of a dog in a place like Noida or Delhi, unless, of course, you just want to do everything in an artificial way and
Or
keep the
if you
dog.
have a house with a big lawn and ground where the dog can
Huh,
run around, that's a different thing.
huh. So that is the important thing, that you have to have that.
Give
Which not
them
every.
enough exercise.
Acha, again, these dogs are what I've found, because I've had them now for about I've had a Gaddi for about 3 years, 4 years now, and Bakarwal now for about 3 years. Uh, they are a little different from. Uh, they're not that ob- obedient, or they're independent minded dogs.
Hmm.
Unlike uh, let's say a lab or something, you know, or even my dog which I keep with me here. Uh, they're very eager to please,
Hmm.
uh, and easy to train.
Hmm.
These guys are not.
Hmm.
Uh, you can you you can give them basic training,
But they are
uh,
not.
but they will not turn tricks for you.
Hmm. Yeah, sit down,
Ki-
come, go, and all that, fetch, all that you can
uh,
teach them maybe, but
uh, fetch me nahi.
fetch bhi nahi.
Fetch me nahi. I don't go so much on that. Basically, uh, basic obedience. Come here, go there, stop, ताकि
Stay.
कोई दिक्कत ना हो. Because I think this basic obedience of come, stop, stay is very important, because otherwise, if you're out with your dog and something is happening and the dog is panicking and doesn't listen to you, it can get hurt.
Yes.
So that's where and
And do these breeds bite
they don't
the
bite. They don't
biters?
bite. The other part of this, see, these are what should I say? Sheepdogs.
Okay.
For generations, they've been with flocks.
Yeah, so they are very, very agile
Their
on their feet, number one.
their
Great
basic
stamina,
their basic instinct
herding instincts.
is to herding to karo.
Hmm.
They're not so much as herders, because herding instinct is more of a pastoral grazing requirement.
Hmm. Hmm.
जो यूरोप में होता है,
Hmm.
to keep the whole herd together.
Yeah.
The primary requirement in the Himalayas
Hmm.
for the flocks, etc., is to keep the flock safe.
Hmm.
So they're excellent watchdogs. But they're not the Doberman Pinscher type of guard dogs.
Hmm.
Their instinct is not to lunge at people.
Hmm.
Their instinct is to scare people. And
So their bark and their manner would scare people.
yes. And I mean, if you see them in operation, they like the ones, even if I have at home and someone new comes into my place,
Hmm.
they will bark. They'll stand in one place and bark, and then they'll take 2 steps forward and bark again.
Hmm. Hmm.
They're basically trying to say, get out from here, out.
Hmm. Hmm.
But for the people they know,
Hmm.
they're very friendly, and you can do whatever you want with them. They're excellent with children. I have people working on the farm who sometimes bring their small kids. We've never had an incident of anything happening.
And what are the characteristics of the Bakarwal?
The Bakarwal.
Hmm.
The Bakarwal is a very unique breed.
Hmm.
One of the unique characteristics, which also some you may say is irritating, is a Bakarwal can bark non-stop for hours.
बकरवाल नाम इसीलिए है क्या?
नहीं, नाम तो ट्राइब से आया है.
Okay.
सी ये गद्दी नाम भी ट्राइब से ही आया है.
Okay.
ये हिमाचल में जो शीप पालते हैं और जो द नोमैड्स in Himachal area, Himachal Garhwal area, they call Gaddis.
So they have preserved these breeds.
Yes. In Kashmir, they are those similar tribes of working on similar, nomadic tribes. They are called Bakarwals because वो बकरी रखते हैं.
Okay, okay, okay.
So that's where the names come from. But you were asking about Bakarwal dogs. So they have this amazing ability of barking continuously. And the way they do that is their chest will keep on pumping and they'll continuously stand in one place and they can bark.
Wow.
They have an excellent hearing. Well, sometimes, like I have a house in Dehradun in the city and the farm is somewhere outside the city. When I would bring her in for, some treatment or vaccination, etc., to the city, everybody in my neighborhood would know.
Oh,
because नहीं,
आवाज होते ही वो चिल्लाएगी.
आवाज कुछ भी हो जाए.
She'll bark.
I would say for an area of around 200 to 300 yards radius, you cannot have a movement without them knowing about it. And that way they are. So they are actually excellent for keeping in farms, in farmhouses, in large bungalows as watchdogs. Because they will not unnecessarily attack and bite. I've never seen my dogs, even till date, baring their teeth, fangs. Okay? पर जहां मेरा लैंड है वहां कुत्ते नहीं आते अब. Nothing
because of these guys.
So they're very lovable and very useful from that perspective. You can actually kind of go there, leave them in the place, and you can be sure nothing will happen.
Nobody would be able to come in. And tell me a little about your organic farm. Has that turned profitable or not?
I hope this time, because this time I've done some larger scale planting. Primarily what I'm doing out there is there is a particular kind of garlic which is called Himalayan garlic.
Is it black garlic? No.
No, garlic is never black in its native form. But it's a large garlic.
Those larger pods.
Yeah.
Single pod.
Yeah. So this is the this garlic is rather interesting. Every garlic in its mature form will have only 7 pods.
Okay.
The pod is not layered like normal garlics where you have layers of pods. Out here they don't have that. The pod goes right from the surface right to the center, like a wedge.
Yeah, so it's a bunch.
Yeah, it's like each pod is like a wedge. And every plant will have that. But before the plant flowers, once the plant grows up, and then at one point of time, then it shoots, then a stalk will grow and there'll be this flower, which flower. Before that stalk starts growing, this way flower aayega. If you take out the garlic, there are no pods. It's like an onion without any layers, but it's solid like an onion. There's a single thing. And once that thing grows, then it kind of self-divides itself into 7 pods. And so I'm growing that. Yeah. This time I've done my first commercial plantation, in the sense that enough plantation for me to be able to take it out to the market.
Yeah.
In there.
Wonderful.
And along with that, from the same crop, from the same garlic, you get what's called as garlic pearls.
Okay.
These are small globules which get attached, nodules which grow on the roots, which have their own value.
They are also marketed probably to the Ayurvedic companies.
Yeah. And now it's also becoming pretty fashionable as a
the market also.
Gourmet food.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I've seen recently over the past year and a half, this black garlic that you mentioned, single pod round thing, right? That's been coming up on the stores, in some of these organic stores, etc. You'll find them there. So that is essentially the same garlic, which is then fermented in a particular way.
Okay.
So that it turns black, and in the process, the blackness comes from the sugars that it releases. Okay. In the fermentation process. So that's what, and people say it is medicinal value. Though I've not been able to find too much of literature on that. But that's it. So my idea of doing this farming was primarily to what I'm trying to do actually is not so much focus on the garlic or one particular thing. I'm trying to create a small little self-sustaining, self-supporting little system out there, ecosystem, which involves a whole lot of technologies like rainwater harvesting,
solar energy,
drip irrigation, rearing some cattle to provide the organic manure and taking it on and take. So everything
and
kind
all
of
the produce that you get from the farm will be consumed by the people who live there. That kind of an ecosystem.
No. I mean, there is enough being produced on the sides of the farm, within the farm, but on the side, which is enough for the person to eat. So vegetables वगैरह तो होती रहती हैं. But this is more key, have a particular niche product and have a system which kind of self-sustains itself, and it doesn't require too much
and be known for that product, that this product comes from there.
Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to achieve in that process. So it has taken time.
It does take time.
I've got rainwater harvesting reservoirs now, which last me about 6 to 7 months.
Wow, that's wonderful.
So, and basically collecting the water from the sheds, etc., which you had to build.
The runoff.
And so, luckily, Dehradun has sufficient rains, and I'm able to collect almost 2 lakh liters of water. And that, with drip irrigation usage, can last me around, say, about 6-7 months, which I think should suffice. Because Dehradun monsoon lasts for almost 4 months. And that's
so that's your year. Your whole year is covered.
Yeah. So that's how that takes. So that's what I'm doing. My objective is not so much to make too much of profit.
Yeah, but it should be self-sustaining.
Yes, to be self-sustaining. So I hope that by the end of 21, I should have achieved that, or maybe 22 maximum, I should have achieved that situation. और बताओ.
Vivek, have you looked at the watch?
Yeah, I don't know. क्या हुआ?
What do you think the time is?
Just 9:15.
Yeah, you were scared. How would you be speaking for 1 hour? And you've been doing most of the talking, and we're already at 9:15. So could you see? Why do you call yourself a reluctant speaker?
I uh, I don't think I'm very good at public speaking.
This is not public speaking.
No, that's what I would say. I'm not very good at public speaking. I can discuss things with people,
Yes, you can do that very well.
but not otherwise.
So great,
Chalo.
Vivek. Now let's see if our audience have any questions. No open questions. See, some of the things that we spoke about must have been quite technical for them. Now, Vivek, tell me towards the end, I always ask my panelists for, if they have, yeah, B.S. Yadav, you have a question. Yeah, please give us the question. Please type your question. So, Vivek, you've had dinner? You would be having dinner now after this.
I've had dinner. At this age, you eat your dinner early.
Yeah, that's what I do. 7-ish.
Yes, exactly.
Sir, any good advice for person who are in mid of career age is 40 and very less saving? Bolo, sir. Mid career advice to someone who's got less saving.
I would say the first thing and the most necessary thing for anyone to do at that stage is to keep your focus on your responsibilities, uh, family responsibilities. Your job is only a median, a means of making that happen. So keep a focus on that. And once your family responsibilities have been met, the next thing you do is to take a look at your own lifestyle and your own uh, what should I say, your own needs. For example, I mean, I'm not just kind of speaking out in without any thing. When I decided to move out of a corporate job and get into, I mean, just do, and for many years I didn't do anything because I was still trying to figure out kya karna hai. The one of the things which I did was I looked at myself and I said, okay, here I am. I've taken care of my responsibilities in life. And now I don't want to continue going down this road again. So let me take a look at my life and see what is it that is actually important for me. Okay. It's as simple as making calls on what are the important things in life which you think that you would like to continue with, and what are the things you can say ki, theek hai. If it happens, well and good. If it doesn't happen, it really doesn't matter. So you downsize your requirements. You uh, kind of consolidate things in the sense ki of downsizing requirements is like, could be as much as, I'm not going to go out and I go out and eat 4 times a month. Instead of doing that, I'll just go out and eat, uh, once a month. So I'm not becoming a hermit, but at the same time, I'm saying ki it's not really important because for me, uh, for me to be able to go out and eat 4 times a month, I have to continue doing what I was doing, which I'm not enjoying. But if I downsize a little, fine. Maybe I'm not going to drive up, change my car every 3 years or 4 years.
Correct.
Maybe I'll keep the car on for 6 years, 7 years,
Yeah.
8 years. So is तरह से you, whatever it could be, you kind of अपनी लाइफ को जिसे कहते हैं ना समेट के रखो. कभी कभी हम लोग बहुत फैला देते हैं, तो उसको समेटो,
मुश्किल हो जाता है.
हाँ, and you will automatically find, because at the end of the day, your most basic human requirements is roti kapda makan. Okay, and out of that, makan is the bigger challenge, but the other two really don't cost. Thankfully, they don't cost much in this country. So if you look at it from that, this is where it is, and I'm going to identify my real requirements versus my consumptive, consumptive requirements, which I can do away with. And are those consumptive requirements important for me? Because for someone, for example, it may be, I really want to, go out and travel so much. Yeah. Like for me, traveling is more important than eating out in a restaurant in a hotel. When I go out, there was a point in time in life when I was thinking, नहीं यार जाएंगे तो अच्छे होटल में बैठेंगे. अब ये होता है कि नहीं जाएंगे तो साफ होटल में जाएंगे.
बहुत अच्छा.
That's all that you need. So you redefine your things. So accordingly, you will find you can achieve a lot of things that you would want to get in life, and take it on from that.
Great, wonderful, Vivek. There are 2 comments from our audience members. Sunita is saying, interesting talk, enjoyed it. Our thinking is similar in many aspects. Then we have our batchmate again, Ramesh Pandey. Great advice, Vivek. Being minimalist is key to happiness. It was nice meeting you last year in Toronto. Yes, so
hi Ramesh, how are you?
We look forward to having Ramesh Pandey on the show soon. अभी रमेश अगली बार नहीं आएगा, फिर बोलेगा. We'll catch hold of him. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Ramesh, and we look forward to seeing you on the show soon. I'll get in touch with you separately. So, Vivek, what a wonderful evening it has been.
मैं एक और चीज बोलना चाहता हूँ.
जरूर.
If I'm actually not seeing the participants, but I'm assuming कि some of your students are there.
Okay.
Are they?
बताओ. Yeah. There would be.
There would be. Okay. अब जैसे Mr. Yadav had asked कि क्या करना चाहिए, how to go through this thing. I think what is important at any stage in life, whatever you're doing, whether you are committed to your career and you're starting your career, you're committed to that, or you're doing anything, or even you're planning your retirement now. Whatever stage in life, you have to take pride in your work. Which basically means is, आप जो भी कर रहे हो, do it in a manner in which you feel satisfied. कि ये काम ठीक से हुआ है.
To your satisfaction.
हाँ. Don't look for perfection. Look for satisfaction. कि if this work I'm doing, it should be to my satisfaction. Perfection में problem आती है. Perfection में hypertension होती है.
और काम नहीं होता.
हाँ, काम नहीं होता. Don't pursue perfection. So that is important.
Perfection तो journey है. काम करते जाइए. That's it. Be on the journey for improvement.
I think that's something which I've followed for a long time. Is कि whatever work I do, I should be able to tomorrow. I should be able to
do it better.
Turn back and say, हाँ वो काम मैंने किया था.
Correct. और मैं इसको अब और ऐसे कर सकता हूँ.
It's not कि I turn back and say, यार मैंने नहीं
कैसे कर दिया, क्यों किया, बेकार था. Correct.
So that's what you've been about. Take pride in your work and जो कुछ भी कर रहे हो and wherever you are.
बहुत सुंदर. बहुत सुंदर. अभी मैं आपसे पूछने वाला था कि स्टूडेंट्स के लिए आप संदेश दीजिए, तो आपने पहले दे दिया. Because that's the last thing I asked my panelists.
अच्छा. So no, because I felt that the question was coming from a person who is like mid career, which is actually a very. I've gone through that. It's quite confusing at times. Because by that time, there are various factors pulling you in different directions.
Different directions. बहुत बढ़िया. So Vivek,
chalo,
as we come to the end of the show, it was just wonderful sitting and chatting with you. Every time I meet you, every time I chat with you, I enjoy myself. And today is no different. And I'd like to continue this. So some other time, some other place, and I'd love to have you over, talk to my students about something else. So Vivek, thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, that's something we have discussed of my attending some of your classes.
Yes.
Right.
That invitation stands. It's a standing invitation to you. And when you come to watch my classes, then I'll also make you speak. Though you may be reluctant, but I'll make you speak. So don't worry. I'll ask you questions there also, and you can only answer.
Okay.
So that would make it easier for you. So Vivek, buddy, thank you so much for coming on the show, for sharing your life's journey, for sharing so many invaluable insights with our viewers, with our subscribers, with our listeners. And I'm sure everybody's enjoyed the show as much as I have. So thank you once again. My regards and best wishes to you and your family. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what a wonderful episode it has been. Thank you very much for watching. And next week, another guest, another journey. That's life.
All right. Thank you for having me. And I hope it was worth your time.
Yes, absolutely. More than worth it. So thank you, Vivek, and good night.
Right.
Good night, friends.
Good night.